Okay, so now that we have a good looking image, I kind of want to talk about the difference in frame rates. So what I'm filming on right now is 24 frames a second. So that means that every second this camera is taking 24 pictures and it's stitching them together into 1 second of my video file. But there are also other frame rates, and a very popular frame rate for YouTube is 30p. So we're gonna see what 30p looks like now. Tell me if you notice the difference. Okay, so this is me filming at 30 frames a second, or 30p. And how does it look? You're actually probably used to this look. This look is very popular for TV, it's very popular for YouTube, and a lot of people like to film in 30p. But there are many more P's, and we're actually gonna check out 60p. You're gonna see 24 frames a second, 30 frames a second, and then 60 frames a second. And I wanna know what you guys' favorite frames per second is. Okay, so this is 60 frames a second. Let me know if you like it. I'm gonna move around a little bit because this is what kind of annoys me about 60p. It looks very lifelike, but it's a lot more fluid than the other frame rates. So I personally think that 60 frames a second and higher looks like a soap opera, but 60 frames a second is like the broadcast standard. Like a lot of people like 60p. Some people like that cinematic look, which is 24 frames a second, which I am a big fan of. But one thing to keep in mind is whenever you're filming in these frame rates, you're gonna wanna put your shutter speed twice the value of your frame rate. So if you're filming at 60 frames a second, you wanna make sure that your shutter speed is 120, ideally, or higher. And this is 60 frames a second, and we're gonna jump back to 24 frames a second. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about is just briefly different types of shots that you can get. So this was important enough that I wanted to get the camera back out and show you guys. So if you look right here, you'll notice on the back of my 70D, and we're talking about the DSLRs today, but these settings can go for any camera that you use. It's all the same. So this number right here that we're looking at is our shutter speed right there. And how you adjust that is with this wheel right here, you know. So, but like I said, we want that number to be twice our frame rate. So our frame rate is 24 frames a second, but you'll notice if we click in there, there isn't a setting for 48, which is the number that we need. We always want to go higher. We never want to go lower than our number, so that's good. And then the next number that we have is our f-stop or aperture. They're both the same thing, or iris, and you can control that with this. These two numbers, when they're lower, they're brighter, okay? That's what you're gonna keep in mind. This number right here, that's ISO. In ISO, there's a button right here, ISO, and then you can use the wheel to flip it, or this one. And that's how you can set your settings. If we wanted to make everything brighter from here, I always like to adjust the ISO because it brings up everything. These numbers, if you mess with this one, it's gonna kind of mess with the blurry background. If that's the look that you're going for, you're the one that kind of decides that. But this number, the reason why it's twice the frame rate is because that is the natural motion blur. Like when you're moving, you know, something in front of the camera, that's the motion blur that our eyes see in real life. So that's why we like to go for that number. Aperture, or f-stop. This number is an interesting one because it also blurs out the background and it narrows your focusing distance, your depth of field. When I'm looking at this cowboy hat, you'll notice that the cowboy hat is in focus. When I remove the cowboy hat, you focus on me, now I'm in focus and the cowboy hat is blurry. Let's move it back. Me as the person that's filming, I'm the one that decides what the audience looks at. So the first way to add blur to your image is to drop your f-stop as low as it can go. I'm at 3.5 right now. Some lenses, Canon 50 1.2, that can go all the way down to 1.2. Another thing that you can do to add blur to your image is just, this lens is a zoomer lens, so you can just zoom in. If I go up closer, you see that it's very blurry. Or you can just move your subject further from the back. So now it's really blurry, but as I start to move back, it becomes less blurry. Okay, well, one more thing, headspace. So this is too much headspace. This, there's not enough headspace. It's cutting off my head. Like, what? This, you know, it's like, yeah. Like, let's just look at, you know, this room that I'm in. I mean, but like, look at how unflattering this room is. Like, I have, you know, this stuff there, and then I got protein right there. I mean, come on. And literally, I was so lazy, I just left this fan that we unplugged. It's behind the chair right now. I mean, you don't see it. You know, there's that thing, like, you didn't even know that was on the table until I showed you, you know? So, I mean, go figure. It look, like, that thing, like, really? Like, that is making this? LOL, dude. Like, this video stuff, it's not rocket science. You guys can do it. Whether you use the phone or whether you use like a DSLR, like, they both look pretty good. As a matter of fact, let's see how the phone looks as opposed to the DSLR, just so we can get an idea. Okay, so this is me filming with my phone. This is our lighting setup that we did. I'm very creatively propping up the phone vertically against the camera tripod because I forgot my adapter. But anyway, so yeah, so this is what the lighting setup looks like on an iPhone 7, you know, for what it's worth. I mean, if we go a little bit closer, it might blur out the background a little bit more, but you know, this is a pretty good image. I mean, it's not the DSLR, but these phone cameras, when you have good lighting and stuff, like it really looks great. Obviously, I'm not using the Rode mic. This is the mic on the phone, but you can totally get good video with your iPhone. That's what I want you guys to hear, that you're not limited by the equipment that you have. As a matter of fact, like, this DSLR that I bought was $300 online. I got it like around Black Friday. But I will say where I did spend money was the microphone. That microphone is like a $200 microphone on top of a $300 camera. And the lens, it's the kit lens. Yeah, so this is my iPhone 7. It looks pretty decent with our setup as well. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you learned something. This video stuff isn't hard. And once you sort of figure out all of the things that go into making a good image, lighting, sound, even decluttering like your set or wherever you're filming, all of those little details come together to make a great looking image. It will make your videos look better. It will make them have production value, and you can totally do it. I believe in you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see ya in the next video.